Hey guys, Rob Mitchell here. Thanks for joining me for NinjaTrader Day Trading Systems Mega Smart Momentum Secrets. I'm going to show you some really cool things today that I've never shown before about reading momentum, kind of from the other side, but I'm also going to cover some interesting topics about how you receive information when it comes to trading and the kinds of things that I'm trying to help you with by doing these videos that some people might not fully understand. So just to be helpful, yeah. First off, past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. There's a risk of loss trading futures. I'm not covering a bunch of performance related things in this particular video. I'm just doing some broad stroke concepts. In this video, I'm going to share important day trading concepts, advice, and secrets that can help you to up your trading game. You can benefit from the concepts, whether it be the E-mini, S&P, crude oil, or any reasonably volatile futures market that you can day trade in. And it involves aligning yourself in a positive way with traders who can carry your trade to success. So when I show you these patterns, more often than not, it reduces to people. Yeah, it reduces to people. So you can use the method to understand other key market concepts. We're going to touch on that a little bit more in a couple of slides. In fact, most of the things I teach on this channel, if you really learn and practice what I'm showing you, in the practice of doing it, you'll often receive other revelations and insights that cannot be learned from other sources. In other words, you receive the information from yourself. That kind of learning is profoundly different from somebody telling you something and then you trying to see it. And so I'm showing you things here in broad stroke terms in hopes that you'll have such things happen, revelation and insight. Yeah, so while we're on that topic, I'd like to make a note here for those viewing who may not know me and the way I teach. I get guys contacting me that think they can get something that'll help them to be successful in their trading. That's true at a certain level, but it generally doesn't work in the way that some folks might think. Yeah. So for this reason, I teach to create that potential for insight and revelation so that you can go on to higher levels. Yeah. And like the difference between somebody handing you a fish and being able to fish, or knowing the concepts that sit behind the things that make trading systems that work. Yeah, if you do not learn to trade this way, yeah, even if you're automating, you'll generally won't have things of lasting value. Yeah, and if you are in for the long game, and I suggest that you do, you'll do the work. Yeah, and you'll get the cart behind the horse where it belongs instead of putting the cart in front of the horse. And if you get things in the right order, and I speak from experience here, you will take decades off your learning curve. Yeah. And so that's my intent when I'm doing these things, is to help you take years off your learning curve. Yeah. And so if you don't, the probability of success on your journey could be almost non-existent. It might not be, yeah. But in my experience, it certainly could be, yeah. So all that being said, when I do these videos, as a general rule, I'm not presenting something. Usually I'm not selling you something. I'm not showing some thing and then, making big discounts and showing you something that I'm going to convince you to buy something or any such thing like that. I'm generally not doing that, yeah, and I'm just sharing, yeah. So for those who do have the tools and who have been with me for a while, they really know why I do these videos, to help them, yeah. So folks who have gotten the trading tools with us, I get emails every week. Oh, I really thanks for doing these videos. Yeah. And that's rewarding to me. Yeah. More than, I'm happy if you buy the things that we have, but it's very rewarding to me for people to have contacted me and tell me that they were able to become successful with the content in these videos. And most of the customers that we have, a great many of them, have been with us for years and years and years, even over a decade. Yeah. So in this way, the videos are really for those who have put things in the right order I'll give some pointers in the videos on where to look, in hopes that you can experience that insight and revelation by looking in just the right place. But only if you happen to be looking. We've got a lot of customers who don't need to be looking, and they don't. And that's great too. So this is the way I teach. I'm doing it for everyone who's ready to receive it. And in this way, I give freely, generally speaking. I'm not withholding stuff. Put another way, I may have presented concepts on this channel that are literally a holy grail. Yeah. And I don't mind doing that. Why? Because only those who have positioned themselves for it in the right way will be able to see it. Yeah. And this is often the way life works, and especially so in my experience for traders. So enough on that. I just wanted to touch on that because I like it when people understand what I'm really trying to do. It's important to me. So I hope this side discussion will help you to find a successful path. That being said, in today's insights that I'm going to share about momentum reading, I'm not going to do any trading signals or anything like that. We're just going to take the broad stroke pattern, and then we're going to talk about how you rectify price action and momentum, as I've taught in this channel in the past, that you might have missed, but I'll do it in a way that might clarify some things for you. That could be a place that you look that could be very helpful to you. And so I'm just going to cover the pattern. And before we do that, I want to cover the concept of rectification. Okay. As traders, it can serve us well to understand that for most of the time, anything you are considering, there are 4 different poles. Okay, now I know that sounds fancy, like some math thing. It also could have to do with degrees of freedom and statistics, but we don't need to be all fancy about it. It's just simple. More often than not, there's 4 poles, and in a minute I'm going to show you a perfect example of that you could actually be seeing something, but only be getting a small portion of it. I'm trying to create a situation where maybe you could see the whole thing. So it's super important, because if you, like most traders, are only considering 1 out of the 4, you're in big trouble. Why? Because 1/4 is 25%. And you want to make decisions that are based on something better than that. If you make decisions based on 25% of what's knowable, you might be setting yourself up to lose 75% of the time. Hopefully not. And if you ever got some new trading software that promised to be better than sliced bread, the greatest thing in the world, but didn't consider this, you probably already know what happened. And more often than not, this can be the case. If you get the concept, then you know. And so if somebody shows you something that's not taking that into account, you're going to see those other poles. And so things are going to get clearer for you, is the general idea. So there's 4 poles all over the place in trading. There can even be 4 poles to the original 4 poles. That can happen a lot too. And that could give you something like 16 degrees of freedom. So, well, then you're talking about like 1/8, or even worse. So great trading systems and strategies will take this into account, or will exploit situations where you're not getting tons of poles. So in today's video, the 4 poles we're going to pay attention to are price action cycle. Price action cycle. That's another thing I might call that is reference structure or structure. Or price action. And the momentum cycle, with respect to a momentum condition that we call out of bounds. So you'll have intact price action reference structure and the momentum cycle. So here's the 4 possible cases or poles for this relationship. And just doing this in general for whatever it is that you're working on could be useful for you, but today we're doing this with price action and momentum. So price action's up, intact structure, up, momentum down. Price action down, momentum up. Price action up, momentum up, price action down, momentum down. So you got up and up for price action, and you got down and down for price action, and up for momentum, and down and down for momentum, and all those different combinations. 4 different poles or relationships that are going on there. So if you learn to trade with this kind of understanding, it can take decades off your learning curve, as we already touched on. And I recommend it could be applied in your trading. I teach this kind of stuff daily in the trading room. We have a lot of fun in there, and we joke around a good bit, and we have fun. But we get into subjects like what we're talking about right here, and different ways of understanding the way the market expresses itself with these kinds of relationships and the relationships of the people that are making the market movement. So today's video, we're going to keep it simple. Like I said, how to read smart momentum trend or mega smart momentum secrets. So what are we going to do? We're going to wait for the smart momentum to go out of bounds. I'm going to show you what that is in a minute if you don't know, and then trade subsequent price action. Yeah, intact price action or structure or reference structure. Yeah, and defended momentum cycles. Those who know the T2 pattern that we've taught on here since the very beginning will see other patterns as well with a little bit of practice. You just go, oh, I see. That's kind of cool. Yeah. So what is that? I'm telling you that if you know the T2 pattern that we've taught on here forever, you might have insight and revelation if you take this. Yeah, and do a little practice with it. Yeah. So let's look at some charts. Yeah. This is a Smart Super Renko chart. Doesn't matter what market it's in or anything like that. And we're just going to use, in this video, we're just going to use the momentum for now. Yeah. So see how this momentum comes down here? I got a high there, comes down a little bit, comes back. It defends at the high there and makes this extension coming down. And the momentum goes out of bounds. Now, out of bounds is when it goes outside of that dot dash purple line. And then if it comes up like this, it's out of bounds. Yeah. So what is this? This is out of bounds with the price action structure. Yeah. Out of bounds with the price action going in the same direction. They're both going down. Yeah. Yeah. And so you could consider, if you wanted to, selling these guys. Yeah. As long as that out of bounds stays defended and doesn't go out the orange on the other end or doesn't go out of bounds on the other end, you can consider the same thing. So once that guy goes out of bounds right there, you want to be careful about that, trading with the trend. Yeah. Yeah. And then it starts hitting up here, and then you can start looking for cycles going long over here after it went out of bounds going up. Similar over here, you go out of bounds right over in here, and you get scalp trades over in here. You may choose not to trade that because that's not an intact price action structure. It only went A, B, C, or A, B, C, D. It's nice to have a little bit more than that. Yeah, you go back out of bounds over in here, over out of bounds over in here. Now, when the market does that, what's it tell you? It tells you the market's cycling. Yeah, market's cycling. And it may have different behaviors with respect to this at different times of the day. Yeah, out of bounds over here, and then they'll usually drive it up. Now, there's another concept that's going on here. Is the market rarely trades in single runs. Yeah, it sits at the core of this kind of concept. Yeah. And so anytime it goes out of bounds, I'm looking to trade in the direction that it went out of bounds, and I don't really want to trade against that. I really don't want to trade against that in general. We've got a bounds over in here. This got covered a little bit, and then you look to trade this. Now, I did a recent webinar with Shark Indicators. They asked me to speak at Shark Week this year, and covered a pattern very similar to this on Shark Week. And part of what the things that I shared with you earlier were people contact me and asking me, and the pattern's right in front of their face. They can't see it. Yeah, and that, that's not uncommon. It takes some practice. But if you reduce down to these simple concepts, you'll see it a lot quicker. Yeah, so we go out of bounds down here. We're defending over in here, and then the cycle just down, down, down. Yeah. How about this? Do I want to sell that? No, I don't want to sell that. It went out of bounds to the upside real aggressively too. It's in a very different environment over in here where you're cycling what I call from coast to coast. Yeah, where you go out of bounds to out of bounds in one run, out of bounds to out of bounds in one run. That's a very different market environment. Out of bounds to out of bounds in one run. In one run. So, very different situation than out of bounds and continue in the same direction. What were those 4 poles? Yeah, so the one that I'm pointing out to you here is where it goes out of bounds and the price action is going in the same direction and remains defended above the out of bounds line. Super simple. We have a saying in our trading room for years and years, the smart momentum knows. This is one of the ways that it knows. Yeah. So what do we have here? Well, we're cycling from coast to coast, out of bounds to out of bounds. And we go out of bounds, and then we're cycling higher, and then it gets out of bounds over in here, and then you get some nice movements over in here while this is defended all the way up. Yeah. You can do a lot more with this with the order flow and the smart volume ratio or pressure that we call it if it's used inside the trap trader oscillator here. Yeah. What I've done here is I've separated those out. But today's video is really just focusing on this. Yeah. What do we call this right here when it does that? It's an encompassing pattern. The structure is not entirely intact. It does get defended, but it's a lot safer to wait over into here, unless you have a specific method for that. So this is a specific case. Yeah, out of bounds continues. Yeah, out of bounds and then rolls over. It defends up in here and rolls over. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, yeah. So this thing, understanding the momentum from this viewpoint, helps you to what? Determine trend. Yeah, it's a trend determinant. And then once that relationship stays intact, in other words, you don't test the other side of it, the momentum structure stays intact, and the price action structure stays intact with it. They go together, and you can go back and review those 4 pulls with respect to this. It can be a little harrowing at first, but just getting it to the point that you can see it and glance at it and know what it is can be very helpful. And this concept, as I said, applies to a bajillion different things in trading. It's actually pretty cool. So as I said, I teach these and more advanced trading technologies and concepts, trading secrets, tips, associated nuances in my trading room daily. And join us if this kind of thing resonates with you. So in today's charts, we use the Smart Super Renko price bars with the Smart Momentum and other indicators on the chart from the trading room pack at IndicatorSmart and other packs there as well from IndicatorSmart. Thanks for joining me for this video and giving me the opportunity to share with you something that I'm super passionate about and that can help you have what? Insight and revelation as you advance your art of trading. Thank you, and we'll see you again on the next one.